Hyunwoo dragged his tired feet across the university courtyard. His backpack felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. 3 exams in 2 days had left his brain feeling like mush. All he wanted was to collapse on his bed and sleep for 12 hours straight. The automatic door to his dorm building recognized his student card and slid open with a soft hiss. The hallway was quiet. Most students were either studying in the library or already asleep. Hyunwoo pulled out his room key and inserted it into the lock. The moment he opened the door, something was wrong. Veltar stood in the middle of their shared room, his forearms waving wildly in the air. The alien's normally calm purple scales had turned bright orange. Hyunwoo had lived with Veltar for 6 months, but he had never seen this color before. Hyunwoo. Veltar's voice was higher than usual. His large black eyes were wider than dinner plates. You got me pregnant. Hyunwoo's textbook slipped from his hands and crashed to the floor. His mouth fell open. He blinked several times, wondering if he was having some kind of stress-induced hallucination. What did you just say? Hyunwoo asked slowly. Pregnant. You made me pregnant. Veltar pointed all 4 of his long fingers at Hyunwoo. The orange color on his scales was getting brighter. This is your fault. Hyunwoo's brain tried to process this information. He knew that humans and Karelians could not reproduce together. Every biology class had made this very clear. Different species, different DNA, impossible combination. The university had covered this topic extensively to avoid exactly this kind of confusion. Veltar, that's not possible, Hyunwoo said carefully. Humans and Karelians cannot have babies together. We learned this in orientation class. I am not talking about babies. Veltar's scales flickered between orange and red now. I am talking about the bonding. The life growth. You started the process. Hyunwoo had no idea what Veltar was talking about. He stepped further into the room and closed the door behind him. Maybe if he spoke calmly, his roommate would calm down too. Can you explain what you mean? Hyunwoo asked. I really don't understand. Instead of answering, Veltar rushed to the wall panel near their window. He pressed his palm against a red square that Hyunwoo had never seen him touch before. Immediately, metal barriers slammed down over the windows. The door behind Hyunwoo clicked with the sound of multiple locks engaging. Red lights began flashing around the room's ceiling. Emergency containment protocol activated, announced the room's computer system. This room is now sealed. No entry or exit permitted until containment conditions are resolved. Hyunwoo spun around and grabbed the door handle. It would not move. He pressed his student card against the scanner. Nothing happened. Veltar, what did you do? Hyunwoo demanded. I activated the safety system, Veltar replied. His scales were slowly shifting back to purple, but they still had orange edges. We cannot leave until we resolve the bonding situation. What bonding situation? Hyunwoo felt his voice getting louder. I have no idea what you're talking about. Veltar sat down on his bed, which was designed for his taller, thinner body. He held his head in his upper 2 hands while his lower 2 hands rested on his knees. Last week, Veltar said slowly, you helped me write my essay for Human Studies class. Yes, so what? You asked for help and I helped you. That's what friends do. Friends, Veltar repeated the word like it was foreign. In my culture, when someone helps another person with their learning during a growth phase, it creates a bond. A permanent bond? Hyunwoo felt a cold feeling in his stomach. What kind of bond? A life bond. The helper becomes responsible for the learner's continued growth. Forever. Veltar looked up at Hyunwoo with his large black eyes. My body has begun the process. I am producing the memory crystal that will contain our shared knowledge. Memory crystal? Veltar stood up and turned around. He lifted his shirt to show his back. Just below his shoulder blades, Hyunwoo could see a small bump under the skin. It was glowing faintly with a soft blue light. This is the beginning, Veltar explained. Over the next few days, my body will create a crystal that contains everything I have learned. But it also contains the bond between us. If the bond is not properly completed, the crystal will be rejected by my body. And what happens if it's rejected? Hyunwoo asked, though he was afraid of the answer. I could become very sick, possibly die. Hyunwoo sank down onto his own bed. This was not how he had planned to spend his evening. He had just wanted to help his roommate with an essay. Now apparently he was responsible for Veltar's life. Okay, Hyunwoo said, trying to think logically. What do we need to do to complete this bond properly? I do not know, Veltar admitted. This has never happened between a human and a Karelian before. My people's traditional bonding ceremonies are designed for our own species. Hyunwoo got up and walked to the door. He pressed the intercom button. Hello? Can anyone hear us? We need help in room 247. A voice crackled through the speaker. It was Jae-min, Hyunwoo's best friend who lived down the hall. Hyunwoo? What's going on? Why are there red lights flashing under your door? It's complicated. Veltar activated some kind of emergency system. We're locked in here. I'll get help, Jae-min promised. Don't do anything stupid. Too late for that, Hyunwoo thought. He turned back to Veltar, who was now pacing around the small room. The alien scales kept shifting colors, purple to orange to a pale yellow and back again. Is there anything else you can tell me about this bonding process? Hyunwoo asked. Only what my parents taught me when I was young, Veltar replied. The bond is sacred. It cannot be broken once it begins. The mentor and the student become connected for life. But I'm not your mentor. I'm just your roommate. That is not how my body understood it, Veltar said sadly. When you spent 3 hours helping me understand human culture for my essay, when you shared your knowledge so freely, my instincts recognized you as a life guide. Hyunwoo rubbed his temples. A headache was forming behind his eyes. This was definitely not covered in the university handbook. The intercom crackled again. This time it was Dr. Choi, their xenobiology professor. Students, I am here with campus security. Can you tell me exactly what happened? Hyunwoo looked at Veltar, who nodded encouragingly. Professor, Veltar says I accidentally started some kind of Corellian bonding process by helping him with homework. Now we're locked in here until we complete it properly. There was a long pause. I will need to research this, Dr. Choi said finally. In the meantime, do not touch the containment controls. The system is designed for chemical emergencies. If you interfere with it incorrectly, it might flood your room with sterilization gas. Hyunwoo and Veltar looked at each other with wide eyes. This day was getting worse by the minute. The first night trapped in their room was the longest night of Hyunwoo's life. He lay on his bed staring at the ceiling while Veltar made soft humming sounds from across the room. The alien had explained that the humming helped his body process the crystal formation, but to Hyunwoo it sounded like a broken air conditioner. When morning came, the red lights were still flashing. The metal barriers over the windows blocked out most of the sunlight. Their room felt like a submarine deep underwater. Hyunwoo's stomach growled loudly. They had eaten their emergency food supplies the night before. 2 packages of instant noodles and some crackers that Veltar kept for late-night studying. Now they had nothing left except water from the bathroom sink. A knock came from the door. Hyunwoo. It's Sora. Are you okay in there? Hyunwoo felt relief hearing his girlfriend's voice. Sora was studying interspecies communications. If anyone could help them figure this out, it would be her. We're alive, Hyunwoo called back. But we're getting hungry. I brought food, Sora replied. Dr. Choi figured out how to pass things through the emergency slot. A small panel near the floor slid open. Sora pushed through a bag containing sandwiches, fruit, and bottles of water. She also included a note written on paper. Hyunwoo read the note aloud. Research shows Corellian bonding involves exchange of life essence. No human has ever attempted this. Dr. Choi is contacting Corellian cultural experts. Stay calm. Sora, life essence? Hyunwoo looked at Veltar. What does that mean? Veltar's scales turned a pale blue color. It means we must share something deep and personal. Something that shows who we really are. Like what? I am not sure. My parents never explained the details. They said I would understand when the time came. Hyunwoo bit into a sandwich. The food helped him think more clearly. Okay, let's try to figure this out step by step. What exactly is happening to your body right now? Veltar lifted his shirt again. The bump on his back had grown larger overnight. The blue glow was brighter too. The crystal is forming, Veltar explained. It contains memories, emotions, and knowledge. But it also needs something from you to complete the bond. Something from me? Like what? Your essence, your humanness. Before Hyunwoo could ask what that meant, the intercom crackled to life. Students, this is Dr. Choi. I have been in contact with the Corellian Cultural Ministry. They are sending an expert, but it will take 2 days for her to arrive. In the meantime, you need to know something important. Hyunwoo and Veltar moved closer to the speaker. The containment system has a built-in timer, Dr. Choi continued. If the emergency is not resolved within 72 hours, It will assume a contamination event has occurred. It will then flood the room with sterilization gas to eliminate any biological threats. Hyunwoo's blood turned cold. How long have we been in here? About 20 hours, Veltar replied quietly. So we have less than 2 days to figure this out, Hyunwoo said. Or we're both dead. The rest of the morning passed slowly. Hyunwoo tried to stay busy by organizing their belongings and cleaning the room. Veltar sat on his bed with his eyes closed, humming softly. Around noon, Jaemin's voice came through the intercom. I've been reading about Karelian culture, he announced. The bonding process usually involves the mentor giving the student a memory of great personal importance, something that shaped who they are. How am I supposed to give Veltar a memory? Hyunwoo asked. Karelians can share memories through touch, Jaemin explained, but no one knows if it works with humans. Hyunwoo looked at Veltar. Is that true? Can you share memories by touching someone? Veltar nodded. Yes, but it requires deep trust. And I have never tried it with a human. Your brain structure is different from ours. What's the worst that could happen? Your mind could be damaged. Or mine could be. Or both. Hyunwoo sat down heavily on his bed. Every option seemed dangerous. That afternoon, Sora passed another note through the food slot. Found old research paper about failed human-alien memory sharing experiment. Subject suffered permanent brain damage. Please be careful. Hyunwoo crumpled up the note and threw it across the room. This is hopeless, he said. Everything we try could kill us or make us crazy. Veltar stopped humming and looked at him. Hyunwoo, I am sorry. This is my fault. I should have warned you about our bonding customs before accepting your help. It's not your fault, Hyunwoo replied. You didn't know this would happen either. But you are risking your life because of my biology. That is not fair. Hyunwoo studied his roommate's face. Veltar's large black eyes looked sad and scared. His scales had turned a dull gray color. You know what? Hyunwoo said suddenly. I'm tired of being scared. We're going to figure this out. How? By trying something new. Maybe the reason no one has ever done this before is because they were trying to follow old rules. But humans are good at making new rules when the old ones don't work. Veltar's scales flickered with a tiny bit of purple. What do you mean? I mean, maybe we don't have to do this exactly the way your people have always done it. Maybe we can create our own version that works for both humans and Karelians. That evening, Hyunwoo spent hours talking to Veltar about human culture. He explained how humans formed friendships, how they helped each other, and how they showed care for people they cared about. Veltar listened carefully, asking questions about things that seemed strange to him. Why did humans shake hands when they met? Why did they give gifts on birthdays? Why did they say thank you so often? As they talked, Hyunwoo noticed that Veltar's scales gradually became more purple and less gray. The crystal on his back continued to glow, but the light seemed steadier now. I think I understand something, Veltar said as they prepared for their second night in captivity. Human bonding is different from Karelian bonding. Yours is based on choice and friendship. Ours is based on duty and hierarchy. Maybe that's the answer, Hyunwoo suggested. Maybe we need to combine both ways of thinking. Outside their room, they could hear people moving around in the hallway. Students were returning from classes and dinner. Normal life was continuing while they remained trapped in their metal box. But Hyunwoo was starting to feel less trapped and more determined. Humans had always been good at solving impossible problems. They had survived ice ages, built cities, traveled to space, and made friends with alien species. Surely they could figure out how to complete one alien bonding ritual. The timer was still counting down. They had less than 24 hours left. But for the first time since this whole mess started, Hyunwoo felt like they might actually have a chance. The third day began with bad news. Veltar woke up looking pale and weak. The crystal on his back had grown to the size of a chicken egg, and its blue glow was flickering like a dying light bulb. I do not feel well, Veltar admitted as he sat up slowly. His scales had turned an unhealthy shade of yellow-green. Hyunwoo felt his friend's forehead. Veltar's skin was burning hot. We need to do something today, Hyunwoo said. You're getting sicker. Dr. Choi's voice came through the intercom right after breakfast. Students, I have troubling news. The Karelian expert cannot arrive in time. Her ship was delayed by a solar storm. You have about 16 hours before the sterilization protocol activates. Hyunwoo closed his eyes and took a deep breath. 16 hours to save both their lives. Professor, Hyunwoo called out. What happens if we try the memory sharing and it doesn't work? Based on my research, if the bonding fails, Veltar's body will reject the crystal violently. It could cause organ failure. And if we do nothing, the same result but slower. Hyunwoo looked at Veltar, who was leaning against the wall for support. His roommate gave him a weak smile. It seems we have no choice, Veltar said quietly. We must try the memory sharing. But what if it damages your brain? Or mine? Then at least we will have tried. I would rather die attempting something brave than die doing nothing. Hyunwoo sat down next to Veltar on the bed. Okay, tell me exactly how this memory sharing works. I place my hands on your head, Veltar explained. You must think of a memory that is very important to you. Something that shows who you are as a person. I will try to receive it and add it to my crystal. What kind of memory? Something that changed you. Something that made you become the person you are now. Hyunwoo thought about his life. What memory had shaped him the most? His first day at university? The time he won a science fair? His parents' divorce? Then he remembered something from when he was 8 years old. I think I know what memory to share, Hyunwoo said. He told Veltar about the day he had found an injured bird in his family's garden. His mother had said they should leave it alone because wild animals were dangerous. But Hyunwoo had carefully picked up the bird and taken it to a veterinarian. The vet had said the bird's wing was broken and it would never fly again. Most people would have put the bird to sleep. But Hyunwoo had begged his parents to let him take care of it. For 3 months, Hyunwoo had fed the bird by hand and helped it exercise its wing. Everyone said he was wasting his time. But slowly, the bird got stronger. One morning, Hyunwoo opened the bird's cage and it flew around his room. The next day, he took it outside and let it go. It flew away into the trees completely healed. That memory shows that I never give up on someone I care about, Hyunwoo explained, even when everyone else says it's hopeless. Veltar's scales turned a deeper purple. That is a good memory. It shows your human nature very clearly. Are you ready to try? Hyunwoo asked. Veltar nodded, though his hands were shaking slightly. Remember, you must think about that memory as clearly as possible. Try to remember not just what happened, but how you felt. Veltar placed his 4 hands gently on Hyunwoo's head. His skin felt warm and slightly rough, like fine sandpaper. Close your eyes, Veltar whispered. Think about the bird. Hyunwoo closed his eyes and brought back the memory. He remembered the feeling of the small bird in his hands, so light and fragile. He remembered the determination he had felt to help it, even when everyone said it was impossible. At first, nothing happened. Then Hyunwoo felt a strange tingling sensation in his head. It was like someone was gently touching his thoughts. Suddenly, images flashed through his mind that were not his own memories. He saw a world of purple crystal towers under 3 suns. He saw Veltar as a child, learning to write in flowing alien script. He saw Veltar saying goodbye to his family before coming to Earth. The images came faster. Veltar's first day at Human University, feeling scared and alone. His confusion at human customs. His loneliness when other students avoided him because he looked strange. Then Hyunwoo saw his own memory from Veltar's perspective. But it looked different. The bird in the memory was glowing with the same blue light as Veltar's crystal. And when the bird flew away, it left a trail of light that connected it to the boy who had helped it. I see, Veltar whispered, his voice filled with wonder. I understand now. The tingling sensation grew stronger. Hyunwoo felt like his thoughts were mixing with Veltar's. For a moment, he experienced what it felt like to have 4 arms and to see colors that humans couldn't see. Then something went wrong. Pain shot through Hyunwoo's head like lightning. He tried to pull away, but Veltar's hands held him firmly. Something is wrong, Hyunwoo gasped. No, Veltar said, though his voice sounded strained. This is normal. Our minds are different. We must push through. The pain got worse. Hyunwoo felt like his brain was being turned inside out. But then he remembered the bird again. He had pushed through difficulty to help it. He could push through this to help Veltar. Gradually, the pain began to fade. In its place came a feeling of warmth and connection. Hyunwoo could sense Veltar's thoughts and emotions as if they were his own. He felt Veltar's gratitude for their friendship. He felt his roommate's amazement at human kindness. And he felt something else. Veltar's fear of being rejected by his own people for forming this bond with a human. Your people don't approve of this? Hyunwoo asked without opening his eyes. Many do not, Veltar replied sadly. They think I am betraying our traditions by bonding with an alien. But you're not betraying anything. You're creating something new. That is what I hope. But change is difficult for my people. Slowly, Veltar removed his hands from Hyunwoo's head. The connection between their minds faded, but it didn't disappear completely. Hyunwoo could still sense his friend's presence in the back of his thoughts. Did it work? Hyunwoo asked. Veltar turned around and lifted his shirt. The crystal on his back was now glowing with a steady, bright light. But instead of pure blue, it now had streaks of gold running through it. The gold is from your human essence, Veltar explained. I have never seen anything like it. Dr. Choi's voice came through the intercom. Students, I'm reading some unusual energy signatures from your room. What's happening in there? We tried the memory sharing, Hyunwoo replied. I think it worked. The containment system is still active. That means the bonding process isn't complete yet. Hyunwoo and Veltar looked at each other. The crystal was stable, the memory had been shared, but they were still trapped. What else do we need to do? Hyunwoo wondered aloud. Veltar sat down carefully on his bed. He looked tired but healthier than he had that morning. Maybe, Veltar said slowly. The bond requires something from both of us. I received your memory, but perhaps you need to receive something from me as well. Like what? I do not know. This has never been attempted before. We are writing new rules. Outside, they could hear people gathering in the hallway. Word had spread about their situation. Students and professors were waiting to see if they would succeed or if the sterilization protocol would activate. Hyunwoo felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. This wasn't just about saving their lives anymore. If they succeeded, they would prove that humans and aliens could form bonds deeper than anyone had imagined. If they failed, it might discourage future cooperation between species. But as he looked at Veltar, Hyunwoo realized something important. He wasn't doing this to prove anything to anyone else. He was doing it because Veltar was his friend, and friends helped each other no matter what. Time was running out. The containment system's timer showed only 6 hours remaining. Outside their door, Hyunwoo could hear more people gathering. Sora, Jaemin, Dr. Choi, and what sounded like half the university were waiting to see what would happen. Veltar was feeling better after the memory sharing, but the containment system still kept them locked inside. Something was still missing from their bonding process. Maybe the problem is that we're following Kirelian rules, Hyunwoo said as he paced around their small room. What if we need to do something human too? What do you mean? Veltar asked. In human culture, friendship goes both ways. You shared your memories with me, but maybe I need to give you something too, something that's not just a memory. Hyunwoo started looking through his belongings. He had textbooks, clothes, some photos from home, and a small box of personal items. Nothing seemed right for creating an alien bonding ritual. Then he remembered something his grandmother had taught him when he was young. She had shown him how to make friendship bracelets from colored string. She said that when you gave someone a friendship bracelet, you were promising to care about them forever. Veltar, in human culture, we have something called friendship bracelets. Friends make them for each other as a promise. What kind of promise? A promise to always be there for each other. To help when help is needed. To care about each other's happiness. Veltar's scales turned a thoughtful shade of pale purple. That sounds similar to our bonding concept, but simpler. Hyunwoo looked around the room for materials. They didn't have colored string, but he did have something else. He opened his small toolbox that he used for electronics projects. I can make you a friendship bracelet from wire, Hyunwoo said, and I can program a message into it using binary code. Binary code? It's the language computers use. Just ones and zeros, but they can represent any message. Hyunwoo pulled out a length of thin copper wire and his small programming device. His fingers worked quickly, twisting the wire into a bracelet pattern. As he worked, he programmed a simple message in binary. Different species, same heart. The bracelet wasn't beautiful by human standards. It looked like something a child might make in a school craft class. But to Hyunwoo, it represented everything important about their friendship. This is for you, Hyunwoo said, offering the wire bracelet to Veltar. It contains a message that explains how I feel about our friendship. Veltar took the bracelet carefully in his 4 hands. He examined it closely, feeling the twisted wire and looking at the binary pattern. What does the message say? Veltar asked. Different species, same heart. Veltar's scales suddenly blazed with bright purple light. That is beautiful. But now I want to give you something too. You don't have to. The bonding ritual is for you, not me. No, Veltar said firmly. If we are creating a new kind of bond, it should be equal. Both of us should give and receive. Veltar moved to his desk and pulled out a small device that looked like a combination between a computer and a musical instrument. Hyunwoo had seen him use it before to do homework, but he had never asked what it was. This is a memory crystallizer, Veltar explained. My people use it to store important experiences. I want to create a crystal for you. But I'm human. Can I even use a Carillion memory crystal? I do not know. But we will not know unless we try. Veltar placed his hands on the device and closed his eyes. The crystal on his back began to glow brighter. Slowly, a small clear stone began to form in the center of the device. I am putting into this crystal the memory of our friendship, Veltar said as he worked. All the good times we have shared. All the things you have taught me about humans. All the reasons I am grateful to know you. The process took nearly an hour. When it was finished, Veltar held up a crystal the size of a marble. It was clear like glass, but with swirls of gold and blue light moving inside it. If you hold this crystal and concentrate, you should be able to see the memories it contains, Veltar explained. It is my gift to you. Hyunwoo took the crystal. It felt warm in his hand. When he concentrated on it, images began to flow through his mind. He saw himself through Veltar's eyes, helping with homework, sharing meals, laughing at terrible human movies. But more than that, he felt Veltar's emotions. The loneliness when he first arrived at the university. The happiness when Hyunwoo became his friend. The worry when other humans seemed afraid of him. The joy when he realized that not all humans feared what was different. This is amazing, Hyunwoo whispered. At that moment, the containment system made a loud beeping sound. The red lights around the ceiling began flashing faster. Warning, announced the computer. 4 hours until sterilization protocol activation. Dr. Choi's voice came through the intercom, sounding worried. Students, the system is reading some very unusual energy patterns from your room. Are you both all right? We're fine, Hyunwoo called back. We exchanged gifts. Human friendship bracelets and Carillion memory crystals. There was a long pause. That's not part of any traditional bonding ceremony I've read about, Dr. Choi said. We're making our own tradition, Veltar replied. Suddenly the lights stopped flashing. The red warning lights faded to yellow, then green. There was a sound of locks disengaging. Containment protocol deactivated, announced the computer. Bonding process complete. Emergency status resolved. Hyunwoo and Veltar stared at each other in amazement. Then they heard cheering from the hallway outside. Hyunwoo rushed to the door and found that it opened easily. So-ra, Jaemin, and Dr. Choi were waiting in the hallway with about 20 other students. How did you do it? Dr. Choi asked immediately. The containment system was programmed to recognize traditional Carillion bonding patterns. Your solution should not have worked. Maybe that's exactly why it did work, Hyunwoo said. We didn't follow the old rules. We made new ones. Veltar joined them in the hallway, moving carefully because the crystal on his back was still sensitive. Students who had been afraid to get close to him before now gathered around, asking questions about Carillion culture and the bonding process. The bonding was successful because it was genuine, Veltar explained to the crowd. We did not just complete a ritual. We truly became bonded friends. Dr. Choi was taking notes frantically. This could change everything we know about interspecies relationships. You've created the first successful human-alien emotional bond in recorded history. That evening, as they cleaned up their room and returned it to normal, Hyunwoo and Veltar talked about what had happened. Do you think your people will accept what we did? Hyunwoo asked. Some will be angry, Veltar admitted. They will say I have corrupted our traditions. But others will be curious. They will want to understand what we have discovered. And what have we discovered? Veltar thought for a moment, his scales shifting through several shades of purple. We have discovered that friendship is more powerful than tradition. That caring about someone is more important than following rules. That humans and Carillions are not so different after all. Hyunwoo looked down at the memory crystal in his hand, then at the wire bracelet on Veltar's wrist. I think we've discovered something else too, Hyunwoo said. We've discovered that sometimes the best solutions come from combining different ways of thinking. Outside their window, the university campus was returning to normal. But Hyunwoo knew that nothing would ever be quite the same. They had proven that humans could form deep bonds with alien species. They had shown that innovation and friendship could overcome any barrier. Most importantly, they had saved each other's lives by refusing to give up. 1 month later, Hyun-woo stood in front of his advanced quantum physics class, but his mind was somewhere else entirely. The memory crystal that Veltar had given him sat in his pocket, warm against his leg. Ever since the bonding, he could sense his friend's presence even when they were apart. Right now, Veltar was in Dr. Choi's lab, being interviewed by researchers from 3 different planets. Everyone wanted to understand how their improvised bonding ritual had worked. The story had spread across the galaxy faster than light-speed communication. "Mr. Kim," Professor Lim called out, bringing Hyun-woo back to reality. "Can you solve this equation?" Hyun-woo looked at the complex formula on the board. A month ago, it would have taken him 10 minutes to work through it. But now, with the neural pathways created during the bonding, he could see patterns that had been invisible before. "The solution is 42.7 recurring," Hyun-woo said confidently. Professor Lim checked his calculations and nodded with surprise. "Correct. How did you solve it so quickly?" "I learned to think about problems differently," Hyun-woo replied. After class, Hyun-woo walked across campus to the xenobiology building. Students he passed stopped to stare at him. Some whispered to their friends. Everyone knew he was the human who had bonded with an alien. Most of the attention was positive, but not all of it. Some people thought what he and Veltar had done was dangerous. They worried that other students would try similar experiments and get hurt. Dr. Choi was waiting for him outside her lab. "Hyun-woo, perfect timing. I have news. Good news or bad news?" "Both. The good news is that your case study has been accepted for publication in the Journal of Interspecies Relations. You and Veltar will be famous throughout the galaxy." Hyun-woo felt his stomach twist. "And the bad news? The Karelian Cultural Ministry has formally requested that Veltar return to his homeworld for questioning. They want to determine if your bonding violated their laws. Can they force him to go? Technically, yes. He's still a Karelian citizen." Hyun-woo found Veltar in the lab, surrounded by recording equipment and 3 holographic screens showing alien researchers. His roommate looked tired but excited. "Hyun-woo." Veltar's scales brightened to a happy purple. "Dr. Kithara from the Andorian Science Council just confirmed that our bonding created entirely new neural pathways in both our brains. We are literally thinking in ways that no one has ever thought before." "That's great," Hyun-woo said, though his voice sounded flat. Veltar noticed his mood immediately. "What is wrong?" Dr. Choi explained about the Cultural Ministry's request. As she spoke, Veltar's scales gradually shifted from purple to gray. "I see," Veltar said quietly. "They want to punish me for breaking tradition." "What will you do?" Hyun-woo asked. "I will go. I must face my people and explain what we have accomplished. Maybe I can help them understand." That evening, Hyun-woo and Veltar sat on the roof of their dorm building, looking up at the stars. Veltar had pointed out which star was his home sun. It looked no different from any other star, but knowing it was there made Hyun-woo feel sad. "How long will you be gone?" Hyun-woo asked. "I do not know. Maybe weeks. Maybe months. Maybe forever if they decide I am a criminal." "You're not a criminal. You're a pioneer." Veltar's scales flickered with a faint purple glow. "Thank you for saying that. But my people may not see it the same way. Then we'll prove them wrong." "We?" Hyun-woo turned to look at his friend. "I'm coming with you. That is not possible. Humans are not allowed on Karelian worlds. The environmental differences could kill you. Then we'll figure out a way to make it possible. We've already solved one impossible problem. We can solve another." The next morning, Hyun-woo marched into the office of the university president. Dr. Han was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been following their story closely. "I want to request permission to accompany Veltar to his homeworld," Hyun-woo announced. Dr. Han leaned back in her chair. "That's impossible. No human has ever set foot on a Karelian world. Then I'll be the first. Even if I wanted to approve such a request, which I don't, the logistics are impossible. The atmosphere is toxic to humans. The gravity is different. The cultural barriers are enormous. But not impossible," Hyun-woo insisted. "Humans have survived in space stations. We've colonized planets with hostile environments. We've learned to communicate with dozens of alien species." Dr. Han studied him carefully. Why is this so important to you? Because Veltar is being called home to defend something we created together. If I'm not there to speak for our friendship, they'll only hear one side of the story. And you think your presence will make a difference? I think showing up proves that our bond is real, that it's worth defending. Dr. Han was quiet for a long moment. Then she picked up her communication device. Dr. Choi, please come to my office. Bring all your research on human Karelian physiology. 3 weeks later, Hyun-woo stood in the cargo bay of a Karelian transport ship, wearing an environmental suit that made him look like a robot. The suit would protect him from the toxic atmosphere of Veltar's homeworld and help him move in the stronger gravity. Veltar was beside him, no longer wearing his casual human clothes. He was dressed in traditional Karelian robes that made him look older and more serious. Are you nervous? Veltar asked. Terrified, Hyun-woo admitted, but also excited. Through the ship's windows they could see Veltar's homeworld growing larger. It was beautiful in an alien way, with purple crystal cities that sparkled under 3 different colored suns. My parents will be at the landing platform, Veltar said. They have agreed to meet you, but they are not happy about our bonding. What should I expect? They will test you. They will try to determine if you are worthy of their son's friendship. Be yourself, but be respectful. The ship landed with a gentle bump. As the cargo doors opened, Hyun-woo got his first real look at an alien world. Everything was bigger than Earth. The buildings stretched impossibly high into the purple sky. The gravity made each step feel like he was carrying a heavy backpack. And the colors, there were shades of purple and blue that he had never seen before. But what struck him most was how beautiful it was. This was Veltar's home. This was where his friend had grown up. Veltar's parents were waiting at the bottom of the ship's ramp. They looked like older versions of Veltar, but their scales were darker and more formal in color. Mother, father, Veltar said in his own language, then switched to English. This is Hyun-woo, my bonded friend. Veltar's mother stepped forward. She was taller than her son and had an air of authority that reminded Hyun-woo of Dr. Han. So, she said in heavily accented English, you are the human who corrupted our son's traditions. Hyun-woo took a deep breath. No, ma'am. I'm the human who became your son's friend. She studied him for a long moment. Then, to his surprise, her scales shifted to a slightly warmer shade of purple. We shall see, she said. We shall see. As they walked toward the Crystal City, Hyun-woo realized that their adventure was just beginning. They had created something new between their species. Now they had to prove it was worth keeping. But looking at Veltar walking beside him, wearing both his traditional robes and the simple wire bracelet that Hyun-woo had made, he felt confident they would succeed. After all, they were friends. And friends helped each other no matter which world they were on. The memory crystal in his pocket pulsed with warm light, reminding him that some bonds were stronger than tradition, stronger than fear, and stronger than the distance between stars.